Marvel's gonna marvel. Apparently, Pedro Pascal is now going to be cast as Reed Richards. By the way, he's like their 17th choice. He's the only guy. Oh, I'll take the role. I'll take it. Awful casting. Number one, he looks nothing like Reed Richards. Number two, he's way too old. Why would you? He's like 50 years old. And if he's not, he looks like he's 50. He's up there. So how are you going to get 10, 15 years out of a franchise with him? You're going to have Reed Richards be 60 years old? Why wouldn't you get somebody younger? That's what I don't get about this. Like, then you could have them be the Fantastic Four for a long time. Wouldn't you want at least 2 decades of movies out of the person? But whatever. Pedro Pascal, yay. I guess the reason he took this is because he liked the rumors, because apparently Susan Storm is going to be the leader of the Fantastic Four now. And he'll be upstaged by a woman, just like he got upstaged in Mandalorian when Bo-Katan took over the show and he clapped and said, I think it's great. By the way, he's only doing voice work for that show now. He's never going to take that mask off again. Which, honestly, he never should have. I like it when people never take their masks off. Like Dredd. Go watch Dredd if you've never seen it. Carl Urban. It's a fantastic film. Amazing film. Probably one of the best action movies ever made, in my opinion. Now, Marvel. Back to their old tricks. They've learned nothing, especially when you see the Young Avengers shit. Who wants to see this? It's almost like, how can we make a movie that'll make less money than the Marvels? I know. Let's do the Young Avengers, which will be all women. People keep putting Wanda's twins in there. That's not going to happen. It's going to be Kate Bishop, Antifa Man, or Antifa Girl, the Aunt Antifa, Cassie, she's going to be in it, and Miss Marvel, and Riri Williams. That will be your Young Avengers team. Basically, A-Force. And that's probably what they'll call it. They'll probably call it A-Force, which is an all-female team. So would love to see how much money that thing is going to lose. But the director of the Marvels is going out of her way now to try to get people to not see the movie. She has a response for the people that are criticizing her movie. And it's the typical playbook. You're istophobic if you don't like my movie. By the way, this movie's making history. Despite being the worst performing box office ever for Marvel, it's also making history because it's the most successful movie directed by a black woman, I guess. Okay. I mean, that's not... I wouldn't be proud of this movie's box office, that's for sure. Seems like we're kind of grasping for straws here to try to find something to celebrate with this movie. But just like, going to an old playbook, they're trying to find ways to get people to see this movie. Maybe this will do it. Well, have we called them sexist yet? Ah, yes, let's send the director out there. Throw in bigots, too. Let's call them sexist bigots. I'm sure that will help get the box office going. I find this funny because it's mostly men that have went to see this movie. We've already went over that in a video I did the other day, where I went over that survey that pointed out that it's mostly dudes that have watched this movie. And if you want to get technical, it's mostly white dudes that have went to see this movie. But they're all sexist and homophobic, I guess. Where are the women? The women aren't going to see this movie. It's crazy. Crazy just how uninterested they are in girl bosses. So here is the exact quote. DaCosta shared her thoughts on critics who lampooned her film and Marvel for going woke. She said, there are pockets where you go because you're like, I'm a super fan. I want to exist in the space of just adoration, which includes civilized critique, approved critique. Okay. DaCosta then added, there are these pockets that are really violent and racist and sexist and homophobic and all those awful things. It's really just going through the playbook. Which one? Let's just call them everything. And I choose the side of the light. That's the part of the fandom I'm most attracted to. What I find funny about this, and I've pointed this out before, how come it's only people are ists and phobes for bad movies? There's been a lot of very successful, diverse forms of entertainment over the past couple of years. One Piece is quite diverse. House of the Dragon is quite diverse. But yet, all of those racists, they take I guess they're okay with those ones. They're like, okay, well, I was going to be hateful towards it, but, I changed my mind. I'm just going to save all of my misogyny for the Marvels instead. It doesn't make any sense. It's every time a movie does poorly, we pull out this same old playbook. What's funny is this time, though, they're like, well, you're everything. Even though there's no LGBT stuff in this movie, you're still homophobe. Sorry, you're still quite phobic. Good job, Marvel's director. I'm sure this will drum up a few dollars for the box office. Get it up there a little bit higher, add about $10-$20 to it. Because maybe this will actually get that one person on Twitter to not steal it and actually go see it. That's an idea, maybe. You could appeal to them, say, hey, instead of pirating the movie, why don't you go watch it in the theaters? Because one of my favorite tweets on Twitter the other day was someone saying, I can't get this scene out of my mind, and it was clearly from a handheld camera recorded pirate approved version of the movie. And it's like, so I'm sure you've watched it several times on the camera version, but you didn't want to go see it in the theaters? That's funny to me. It's always these people that can't actually go support something. They're the most in-demand audience. Most in-demand of them all. Anyway, this movie's a sack of shit, and it is going to bomb big time this weekend with the Hunger Games. I think that's absolutely hilarious. So now this movie is going to have a 70 to 80% drop during its second weekend, which is a death blow to the movie. This movie will not have legs. It's not going to kind of squeak out a little bit more money like Elemental did. This movie is toast, and they deserve it. You would think that this would be a wake-up call for Marvel, but it won't be. They will continue to double down on girl boss bullshit and attacking their fan base, and it's leading to the end of the entire studio, which I think is absolutely hilarious because they refuse to turn things around, which is a very simple thing to do. It's called you go back and you look at the shit you did for the first decade and you just replicate that, but they don't want to do that. They want to double down on all these characters no one gives a shit about, and then when you talk about it, they call you every istophobe in the book. So enjoy the hole you've dug yourself, Marvel. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. I'd like to hear from you. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.